On December 1st, 2024, a free app called Mirror appeared on the App Store and Google Play. No company name, no developer information, just a simple description. See yourself as you truly are. Within 48 hours, it had been downloaded 847,000 times. Within 72 hours, the first deaths were reported. Because Mirror didn't show you your reflection. It showed you your future. Specifically, it showed you the moment of your death. The exact moment, down to the second. Users would open the app, point their camera at themselves, and see themselves dying. Car crashes, heart attacks, suicides, murders. The app showed it all with perfect clarity. And here's what made it truly horrifying. The app was never wrong. Every death it showed happened exactly as predicted. Exactly when predicted. Down to the clothes you'd be wearing. The location. The expression on your face as you died. People tried to change their futures. Tried to avoid the deaths they'd seen. It never worked. The app wasn't showing possibilities. It was showing certainties. Fixed points in time that couldn't be altered. And then people discovered something worse. Something that made them wish they'd never downloaded it. The app wasn't just showing your death. It was causing it. Because the moment you saw how you'd die, you became obsessed with preventing it. And that obsession, that fear, that knowledge, it created a self-fulfilling prophecy. You died trying to avoid dying. Died because you knew you would die. The app was downloaded 2.3 million times before being removed from both stores on December 4th, 2024. But removal didn't matter. The app is still on those 2.3 million phones. Still showing deaths. Still making them happen. And it spreads. Not through the app stores anymore. Through something worse. Through screenshots. Through videos people recorded of the app. Through descriptions detailed enough to imagine. Because once you know what the Mirror app shows, once you truly understand it, you start seeing your own death even without the app. Your mind fills in the details. Creates the vision. And that vision becomes real. This is the complete account of the Mirror app, told by someone who downloaded it and saw their death. I'm recording this 3 days before it happens. In 72 hours, I will die exactly as the app showed me. And I can't stop it, no matter what I do, because trying to stop it is what causes it. If you're listening to this, I'm already dead. And if you've listened this far, if you've truly understood what the Mirror app does and how it works, then you might be infected too. You might start seeing it. Your death. Playing in your mind like a movie you can't stop watching. And when that vision becomes clear enough, detailed enough, real enough, it will happen. Exactly as you imagined it. This is my warning. My final testimony. Don't imagine how you'll die. Don't let your mind create that vision. Because once it's clear enough, once you can see it perfectly, that's when it becomes inevitable. Marcus Webb was a 32-year-old software engineer living in San Francisco. He prided himself on being rational, skeptical, immune to viral trends and social media hysteria. So when his girlfriend Jenna showed him the Mirror app on December 2nd, 2024, his first instinct was to dismiss it as another dumb internet phenomenon. It's literally going viral, Jenna said, scrolling through TikTok videos of people screaming after using the app. Everyone's downloading it. It shows you something crazy. What does it show? Marcus asked, only half paying attention while coding. People are saying it shows your future. Like, your actual future. Some are saying it shows how you die. Marcus laughed. And people believe that? It's probably just a filter that randomly generates scary scenarios. Or it's showing people pre-recorded death scenes and claiming they're personalized. That's what I thought too. But look at this. Jenna showed him a Reddit thread where users were posting timestamps and descriptions of what they'd seen. There's this woman who saw herself drowning in her bathtub on December 15th at 3:47 p.m. She posted about it yesterday. Said she'd never take a bath again just to prove the app wrong. Okay, so we wait until December 15th and see if she actually drowns. Spoiler. She won't, because that's not how reality works. Yeah, but what if she does? Wouldn't you want to know? Wouldn't you download it just to see what it shows? Marcus thought about it. His rational mind said it was obviously fake. But his curiosity was piqued. If it was just a dumb filter or a random generator, it would be worth seeing what nonsense it produced. And if by some impossible chance it was real, wouldn't anyone want to know their future? Fine, he said. But I'm only downloading it to debunk it. To show you it's obviously fake. Famous last words. The app interface was minimalist. Black background. Single button in the center that said Mirror. No settings. No menu. No information about what it did or how it worked. Marcus tapped the button. The camera activated, showing his face on screen. He looked normal, maybe a bit tired from work. Nothing unusual. Then the image shifted. It wasn't a gradual transition. One moment, he was looking at himself in real time. The next, he was looking at himself in a different location, different lighting, different circumstances. He was in his car. Nighttime. Rain on the windshield. And his expression was pure terror. The image zoomed out slightly, showing the full interior of his car. He was gripping the steering wheel so hard his knuckles were white, looking at something in the rearview mirror, eyes wide with fear. Then the perspective shifted to show what he was looking at. The back seat of his car. Someone sitting there. No, not someone. Something. The features were wrong, too distorted to fully process. But it was reaching forward, hands with too many fingers extending toward his neck. The Marcus in the vision tried to turn around to fight or flee. The car swerved. Headlights from an oncoming truck filled the frame. Impact. The vision ended with Marcus's face, bloodied and destroyed, eyes still open in death. And in the corner of the screen, a timestamp, December 5th, 2024, 11:34 p.m. 3 days from now. Marcus dropped his phone, stared at it on the floor like it was a venomous snake. What did you see? Jenna asked, her voice tight with worry. Marcus couldn't speak, couldn't process what his brain had just witnessed. Because it hadn't looked like a filter, hadn't looked like a randomly generated scenario. It had looked real. It had looked like actual footage from his future. From the last moments of his life. Marcus, what did you see? He picked up the phone with shaking hands. The app had closed automatically. When he reopened it, there was no record of what he'd seen. No saved video. Just the same black screen with the mirror button. I saw myself dying, he said quietly. In a car crash. December 5th at 11:34 p.m. Something was in my back seat. Something that wasn't human. Jenna's face went pale. I'm opening mine? Don't. But she'd already tapped the button. Her camera activated. And Marcus watched as her expression changed from curiosity to confusion to absolute horror. No, she whispered. No, 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 no. What is it? I'm jumping. From our apartment building. Tomorrow night. December 3rd at 9:17 p.m. And She started crying. I'm smiling while I do it. Like I want to. Like I'm happy about it. Marcus grabbed her, held her while she sobbed. His mind raced. This couldn't be real. It was an elaborate prank. A filter using AI to generate personalized death scenarios based on user data. Something explainable. But the detail, the specificity, the way it looked exactly like him in his car wearing clothes he actually owned. We're not going to die, Marcus said with more confidence than he felt. This is fake. It has to be fake. And we're going to prove it by still being alive on December 6th. Jenna nodded against his chest. But Marcus could feel her trembling, could feel his own heart racing. Because some part of him, some deep instinctive part, believed what he'd seen was real. And believing it made it worse. Marcus spent December 2nd trying to debunk the app. He reverse-engineered the code, analyzed the permissions, tracked its data usage. Nothing made sense. The app had no backend server. No database of death scenarios. No AI model running locally or in the cloud. It was impossibly small, only 3.2 megabytes. Far too small to contain the sophisticated AI needed to generate personalized video content. Yet it had shown him his death with perfect clarity. Had shown Jenna hers. By evening, the internet was in chaos. Millions of people had downloaded the app. Millions had seen their deaths. And the panic was spreading exponentially. Reddit, Twitter, TikTok, all flooded with people describing what they'd seen. Car crashes, heart attacks, murders, suicides, accidents, diseases, every imaginable cause of death. And the timestamps, the specific dates and times. Some people had years, some had months, some like Jenna had hours. Marcus read post after post from people who'd seen themselves dying within days, or even hours. All of them convinced it was real. All of them terrified. But what really made his blood run cold were the posts from people verifying the predictions. A man in Ohio had posted on December 1st that the app showed him having a heart attack on December 2nd at 2:14 p.m. His wife had updated his account on December 2nd at 2:37 p.m. confirming he'd collapsed at exactly 2:14 p.m. and died in the ambulance. A woman in Texas had seen herself drowning in her pool on December 1st at 6:45 p.m. Her neighbor had found her body floating face down at 6:52 p.m. The timestamp had been exact. A teenager in Florida had seen himself in a car accident on December 2nd at 4:22 p.m. Local news confirmed a single car crash at that exact time. The victim matched the app user's profile. The app was either an impossible coincidence, or it was actually showing the future. Marcus chose to believe coincidence. Had to believe coincidence. Because the alternative meant he had 3 days to live and nothing he could do would change that. He made a plan. On December 5th, he would not drive, would not get in a car, would not go anywhere near a vehicle. He'd stay home, in his apartment, safe and sound. The vision couldn't come true if he never got in his car. Problem solved. Except Jenna had a harder problem. Her death was tomorrow night, and it showed her jumping from their building. From their own apartment. "I won't go near the balcony," she said. "I won't go near any windows. I'll stay in the center of the apartment all night. I'll tie myself to something if I have to. I'm not jumping. I'm not dying tomorrow." But Marcus saw the fear in her eyes. Saw the same question he was asking himself. What if trying to prevent it is what causes it? What if the obsession with avoiding your death is exactly what leads you to it? That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. Lay awake next to Jenna, listening to her restless breathing, thinking about the vision. The thing in his back seat. The crash. His destroyed face frozen in death. At 3 a.m., unable to resist, he opened the app again. The vision was the same. Identical down to the smallest detail. Same location. Same timestamp. Same thing in his back seat. Same crash. Unchanging. Inevitable. Marcus closed the app and found himself on Reddit, reading new posts. And what he found made his stomach turn. People who'd tried to avoid their deaths were discovering something horrible. The harder they tried to prevent the vision, the more inevitable it became. A man who'd seen himself falling from a ladder had removed every ladder from his house. Had refused to climb anything. On the day of his predicted death, his smoke alarm went off. Fire in the kitchen. The fire department arrived, asked him to help them access his attic through a pull-down ladder. He refused. The fire spread. He had to evacuate. Climbed down the building's external fire escape. Lost his footing. Fell. Died at exactly the timestamp the app had shown. A woman who'd seen herself choking on food had stopped eating solid foods entirely. Lived on liquids for days. On the day of her death, while drinking a smoothie, a piece of fruit that hadn't been properly blended lodged in her throat. She died choking. Exactly as predicted. The pattern was clear and horrifying. The app didn't just show your death. It set it in motion. Your knowledge of it, your attempts to avoid it, created a web of causality that made the vision inevitable. You died because you knew you would die. Died trying not to die. Marcus read until dawn, his terror growing with each verified death, each failed attempt at prevention. By morning, news outlets were picking up the story. The app had been downloaded 2.3 million times. Hundreds of deaths had been verified. Both Apple and Google removed it from their stores. But removal didn't matter. The app was already on millions of phones. Already showing millions of deaths. Already setting millions of tragedies in motion. And everyone who had it was asking the same question. Can knowledge of the future change the future? Or does knowledge create the future? Marcus was about to find out, because Jenna's death was 13 hours away. December 3rd, 2024. 9:17 p.m. was approaching. Jenna had prepared obsessively. She'd locked all windows, bolted the balcony door, positioned herself in the center of the apartment, surrounded by pillows, tied to a heavy piece of furniture with rope. "I'm not going near any edges," she said for the 100th time. "I'm not jumping. The vision is wrong." Marcus wanted to believe her, wanted to believe that free will could overcome prediction. But he'd read too many posts from people who'd thought the same thing. At 9 p.m., Jenna was calm, confident. She'd beaten it. At 9:05 p.m., she started getting agitated, pulling at the ropes, saying she felt weird, dizzy. At 9:10 p.m., she was crying, saying she felt compelled to go to the balcony, that something was pulling her, calling her. "Marcus, I don't want to go, but I want to go. Does that make sense? Part of me knows it's wrong, but part of me desperately wants to jump." Marcus held her, talked to her, tried to ground her in reality. At 9:15 p.m., Jenna stopped struggling, went completely still. Her eyes glazed over. "Jenna? Jenna, stay with me." At 9:16 p.m., Jenna started untying herself. Her movements were mechanical, automatic, like a sleepwalker. Marcus tried to stop her. She fought him with strength she shouldn't have possessed, clawed at his face, bit his hand, anything to get free. At 9:16 and 45 seconds p.m., she broke free from the ropes, ran to the balcony door. Marcus tackled her, held her down, screamed for help. At 9:17 p.m., exactly as the app had predicted, Jenna stopped struggling, looked at Marcus with clear, conscious eyes. "I love you," she said, "but I have to jump. I understand now. The app doesn't show the future. It creates the future by showing it. And fighting it only makes it stronger. The only way to stop it is to accept it." "No, Jenna, don't." She twisted free with impossible speed, unlocked the balcony door, stepped outside. Marcus ran after her, reached for her. She smiled at him, the exact smile he'd seen in the app vision, climbed onto the railing, and jumped. Marcus lunged forward. Too late. Heard her scream fade as she fell 17 stories. He stood on the balcony, frozen in shock, unable to process what had just happened. Below, sirens. Screaming. The sound of his girlfriend's body hitting the pavement. The timestamp on his phone read 9:17 p.m. Exactly as predicted. Marcus didn't remember the next 2 days. Police. Questions. Grief counselors. Jenna's parents. The funeral arrangements. All of it happened in a fog of shock and horror. But through it all, one thought kept repeating in his mind. The app was real. The visions were real. And he had 2 days until his own death. December 5th, 11:30, 4 p.m. Car crash with something in his back seat. He made a decision. He would not get in a car, would not drive, would lock himself in his apartment and wait for the timestamp to pass. The vision couldn't happen if he wasn't in a car. But as December 4th turned into December 5th, Marcus started noticing things. The app was spreading beyond downloads. People who'd never opened the app were reporting visions, seeing their deaths in dreams, in reflections, in moments of distraction. Because the concept had spread, the idea of seeing your death had infected the collective consciousness. And once you could imagine it clearly enough, once the vision became detailed enough in your mind, it started to become real. Marcus realized this was the app's true horror. It wasn't just a piece of software. It was a virus. A mental virus that spread through knowledge, through description, through understanding. Everyone who'd heard about the app in enough detail, everyone who'd read descriptions of the visions, everyone who'd truly imagined what it would show them, they were all infected. Millions of people were now walking around with visions of their deaths planted in their minds. And those visions would come true, not because of the app anymore, but because the human mind, once seated with a detailed enough vision of the future, would unconsciously work to make that vision real. Self-fulfilling prophecy on a global scale. Marcus spent December 5th reading reports, watching the death toll climb, seeing the pattern repeat over and over. People who'd never downloaded the app were dying at times they'd dreamed about, at times they'd imagined, at times that matched descriptions they'd read online. The vision didn't need the app anymore. It just needed to be in your head. Clear enough, detailed enough, real enough. And then it would manifest. By 11 p.m. on December 5th, Marcus had convinced himself he was safe. He was in his apartment. The doors were locked. His car keys were in a drawer. There was no possible way for the vision to come true. At 11:15 p.m., his phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something compelled him to pick up. Mr. Webb. A professional female voice. This is Officer Jenna Chen with SFPD. We have your vehicle in our impound lot. There's been an incident involving your car, and we need you to come down to identify some evidence. What kind of incident? I can't discuss details over the phone, but it's urgent. We need you here tonight. Can it wait until tomorrow? No, sir. We need you here within the hour, or we'll have to file this as an abandoned vehicle situation. There are time-sensitive elements. Marcus's hands shook. This was it. This was how the vision would manifest. Something would compel him into his car. And then, "I'm not coming," he said. "Whatever it is can wait. Mr. Webb, I understand this is inconvenient, but we have evidence suggesting your vehicle was used in a crime. If you don't come identify it tonight, we'll have to proceed with filing charges that." Marcus hung up. His heart hammered. He'd avoided the trap. Stayed home. Stayed safe. At 11:20 p.m., his building's fire alarm went off. No. No, no, no. The intercom crackled. "Attention all residents. This is not a drill. Please evacuate the building immediately using the stairs. Do not use elevators." Marcus looked at his phone. 11:21 p.m. 13 minutes until the timestamp. He could stay. Ignore the alarm. Risk it being a real fire versus risking the vision. Then he smelled smoke. Real smoke. Coming from the hallway. Marcus had a choice: stay and possibly die in a fire, or evacuate and possibly fulfill the vision. He chose evacuation. Grabbed his keys out of instinct. Ran for the stairs. The streets were chaos. Hundreds of residents evacuating. Fire trucks arriving. And in the confusion, Marcus found himself moving on autopilot toward the parking garage. No. Stop. Don't get in the car. But his body kept moving. His hand pulled out his keys. His feet carried him to his vehicle. 11:28 p.m. 6 minutes. Marcus stood next to his car, fighting himself. Part of him screaming to run away. Part of him compelled to get in. A firefighter approached. "Sir, you need to move your vehicle. We need this space for emergency vehicles." I can't get in my car." "Sir, I'm ordering you to move your vehicle or we'll have it towed." 11:30 p.m. 4 minutes. The firefighter's radio crackled. "We need that space cleared now. If the resident won't move it, we're breaking the window and releasing the brake." Something in Marcus snapped. If they were going to move his car anyway, he might as well be the one driving it. At least then he'd be in control. Fatal logic. The same logic that had killed Jenna. The same logic that had killed thousands of others who'd seen their deaths and tried to avoid them. Marcus got in his car. 11:32 p.m. 2 minutes. He started the engine. Pulled out of the parking space. The rain had started. Just like in the vision. He could still stop this. Could park somewhere safe. Could wait out the timestamp. But traffic was gridlocked. Emergency vehicles everywhere. He was stuck on the street, car running, rain falling. 11:33 p.m. 1 minute. Marcus checked his mirrors. Back seat empty. No monster. No thing with too many fingers. Maybe the vision was wrong. Maybe he'd changed it. 11:34 p.m. Marcus looked in the rear-view mirror. The back seat was no longer empty. The following account was reconstructed from Marcus Webb's final social media post, uploaded automatically via a scheduled post he'd prepared in case of his death. "The thing in my back seat isn't a monster. It's me. Or a version of me. The me that saw the vision and became so obsessed with preventing it that I manifested it into reality. The app doesn't show the future. It plants a seed in your mind, a detailed, specific vision of how you'll die. And then your subconscious spends every moment working to make that vision real. You think you're trying to avoid it, but you're actually creating it. Every decision you make trying to prevent your death is actually a step toward causing it. Jenna didn't jump because the app made her. She jumped because knowing she would jump created an unbearable psychological pressure. The only release was to fulfill the vision. I didn't get in my car tonight because of bad luck or coincidence. I got in it because every part of my subconscious was working to recreate the exact circumstances the app showed me. The fire alarm, the evacuation, the order to move my car, the rain, the traffic, all of it orchestrated by my own mind to fulfill the prophecy I'd been shown. And now I see the thing in my back seat, the thing I created through fear and obsession, the manifestation of my knowledge of death. It's reaching forward. I'm gripping the wheel. Headlights approaching. Everything exactly as the vision showed. Because the vision doesn't predict the future. The vision is the future, spoken into existence by the act of observing it. If you've downloaded the app, you're already dead. The vision you saw will come true not in spite of your efforts to prevent it, but because of those efforts. If you've read descriptions detailed enough to imagine your own death, you're infected too. Your mind will create the vision. And that vision will become reality. The only escape is to not know, to never imagine it, to never create that detailed mental picture of your death. But once it's in your head, once you can see it clearly, there's no way out. I'm posting this from my phone, scheduled to upload in 30 seconds. The headlights are getting closer. The thing is touching my neck. I'm swerving. This is my last thought as Marcus Webb. Everything after this is. Post ends here. Timestamp, December 5th, 2024, 11:34 p.m. Marcus Webb was pronounced dead at the scene of a single vehicle collision at 11:36 p.m. He lost control during rain, swerved into oncoming traffic, struck by a delivery truck. Security footage shows he appeared to be fighting with something in his vehicle's backseat seconds before the collision, though police found no other occupants. Posted to multiple platforms by Anonymous, December 10th, 2024. The Mirror app was removed from app stores on December 4th. But by then, 2.3 million people had downloaded it. 2.3 million people had seen their deaths. As of today, December 10th, over 50,000 deaths have been verified as matching the app's predictions. Exact timestamps. Exact circumstances. No exceptions. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is that the app is still spreading. Not through downloads. Through description. Through imagination. Through knowledge. I've tracked it. Mapped it. The pattern is clear. Anyone who's read a detailed enough description of what the app shows will start having visions. In dreams. In moments of distraction. In reflections. They'll see their deaths. And seeing makes it real. The more you think about it, the clearer the vision becomes. The clearer the vision, the more inevitable it is. We've created a global death prophecy. A self-fulfilling apocalypse that spreads through minds instead of bodies. And I'm infected too. I started researching the app 2 weeks ago. Started reading accounts. Started imagining what it would show me. Last night I saw it. My death. Clear as day. 3 months from now. March 10th, 2025 at 4:15 p.m. Exactly how it will happen. I'm posting this as a warning, but also as a confession. Because by posting this, by describing what I've seen, I'm spreading it further. Infecting more minds. Creating more visions. But people need to know. Need to understand what's happening. The app developers, whoever they were, didn't create a piece of software. They created a virus. A mental virus that spreads through imagination and manifests through self-fulfilling prophecy. And there's no cure. No fix. No way to unlearn what you've learned. Once you've imagined your death clearly enough, that vision becomes your future. Fixed. Inevitable. Unchangeable. All you can do is wait for the timestamp. And hope you're wrong. But you won't be. The app is never wrong. Because the app doesn't predict. It creates. And creation is irreversible.